Hello, yet again. Where is that happiness that was promised me? Cathar Love163. Yeah. Where is that happiness that was promised me? Well, I have it, but it's not the happiness that was promised me. I reckon that people who are old, over 70, 75, they got so many problems. I think they all deserve a medal. It can be hard going for so many people. I saw this guy down the park the other day, and he's quite robust and solid. I said, hey, how are you going? He said, not good. I said, really? You look good. He said, no, osteoporosis. He said, I've got to have needles and injections for osteoporosis. That's I get calcium in the brain and in the in the bones, soft bones. And I should have told him, but about 50 years ago, I was reading about these people in the hillbillies, actually, in the in the Appalachian Mountains and so forth. But they used to have a drink called honeygar, which is basically natural cider vinegar and honey, and they give it to the kids, and everyone drinks that. And what it does, what's supposed to do is actually, the calcium's in your body. That guy with osteoporosis, he's not lacking calcium, it's in the body, but it's floating around in his bloodstream instead of being in the network of his in his bones, in the network of his bones. And so what this honeygar does, it actually gets the calcium that's floating around in your bloodstream, hardening your arteries and what have you, and it puts it back into your bones. And what they used to do is they used to prove to the kids what it's like. Now, this is 50 years ago when I first got onto this. They used to get two old chooks, and then they'd give one chook, the one hen, they'd give it this honeygar for a couple of weeks, and then both chooks, they'd chop off its head and cook them, and they then got the kids to taste the difference. And the one that had the cider vinegar and the honey, the meat was nice and tender. It wasn't as tough as the other one, and they put that down to the fact that the calcium had gone into the bones where it's supposed to be. Now, whether this is true, whether it's scientific, I don't know, but certainly cider vinegar and honey is good for you. So the thing is, that person who had that situation, he just went to the doctor, and the doctor said, I'll give you a needle. But, you know, I think I like to go and check things out. And today we have Dr. Google. But there's books, there's so many different things. Experts using natural methods that can help us. But we seem to be the blind teaching the blind. And anyway, people forget that your parents are only one generation away from you. So all the way they view life is what they put down on you. I was listening to Sadhguru, this yogic guy. He travels the world, wrote books. Very interesting speaker. But he said when he was young, he kept away from religion, from politics. He didn't get involved in any particular religion, and but he consciously did this. He was smart enough when he was young to do this. I was conscious of this, a very religious young Catholic kid, you know, altar boy and all that type of stuff. And but around about 14, I mentioned it before, I was going to have a meat pie. In those days, if you ate meat on a Friday, it was a mortal sin. If you died and you got hit by a bus and you'd just eaten a meat pie and it was a Friday, you're going down to hell to be there for eternity. That's forever and ever and ever and ever in these terrible, terrible flames. And it must have been holidays because it was a Friday, and otherwise you'd normally be at school. And I went, oh my God, if I put that meat pie and I ate that and something happened, I was killed, I'm going to be in hell forever and ever. And I thought, hang on, God's supposed to be love. My mother wouldn't do that to me. Why would God, who's supposed to be love, why would he put me down there for eating meat on a Friday? Now Catholics can eat meat on a Friday. Pity all those poor Catholics that ate meat on a Friday, got hit by a bus and are down there in hell, according to the Catholic Church. Mortal sin and all that type of stuff. So, I gave religion basically away. And I knew I'd given it away because I went to a few wars not long after, and at no time did I ever go to church. No time did I even feel I had to go to church. Because I said, all religious in the war. Well, I certainly wasn't. So it was 14, but at that point I really gave, from that point onwards, I gave religion away. Now, I respect people who believe in religions, but I feel sorry for you. I wouldn't. I don't want religion hanging around my neck. You believe in this and don't believe in, you can't do this and you can't do that. What a joke. Look, what's happier? Joyful, more than a baby, a child. When they're 4 and 5 years old, they're starting to understand things, look at things they're interested in, and life's a joy. They're playing out, they're playing with their friends, and life's great. But already, grandma, granddad, that, you can't do this and you can't do that, that's not right, this is wrong, little boys don't do that, little girls don't do that, and they're starting to put this stuff on you. So then you get your parents, and they're loading all their fears and worries, and then you're trying to teach you. Now, to them it's education, because it's how they know how to survive. Their whole life is in survival mode. Get on top, get this, get that. And then they're putting it onto you. This is the best, be a doctor, be a lawyer, be this. This is the best way to survive. And all this stuff is loaded on it. So, I was thinking about that and listening to this guy the other night, this yogic guy, and I thought, well, here you go, we're a little bit similar in that. We both gave religion away, and but some time ago I was really thinking about this, and so I wrote a poem. Where's this happiness that was promised me? So I'll recite the poem. And what the poem does say is that you can regain that happiness. Not the child's happiness. It's a different form, but it's still in the bliss and in the happiness, and it's based on knowledge. Not the fact that the child he's just naturally happy. So it's based on knowledge and how you go about it. So let me read the poem. Happiness. Where is it? Where is that happiness that was promised me? Where is that place where my heart is set free? Oh, it's a place of peace where people really go to. Because society taught us just what not to know. School and religion were unkind. They confined my mind. While still a boy, education stealthily stole away my joy. There I learned English and maths, morals and sin. All essential knowledge for society to allow me to fit in. But where is the happiness that was promised me? Where is that place where my heart is set free? Well, after many years and tears, lovers, kith and kin, friends that didn't stay, went away, I went within. I travelled the world, went to war, crossed oceans wide, but didn't find peace of mind or joy until I went inside my mind. There, where profound stillness rests peacefully, from a wild child's joy, full circle to where my heart is set free. Really, society, tradition, culture, all this stuff, some of it is good. When I say good, I mean positive, and a lot of it is negative. A lot of us teaches us how to love, and a lot of it teaches us how to divide and hate. For some of us, the lucky ones, we wake up. Now some people can wake up, become enlightened, discover their higher consciousness, discover the mystical, spiritual side of themselves, call it what you like. And some seem to, one day they go, oh, that's what it's about. Now I understand. Others, which I include myself, it's a slow drudge. I've had to change my mind many times. But then one day, you suddenly realise, when you've travelled to different countries and you meet different people, and you realise that we're reincarnated, you understand that we're a soul that carries this particular body in this lifetime, an immortal soul, but it's the soul with a body. This bit of body, it's born, it travels along, and eventually it takes you to the point where you die. And that's your body's journey. But your soul, your divine spark, that is immortal, that carries on. So when you realise that reincarnation, living previous lives, and these days, I mean, I take people back to previous lives. I've talked about it on here. I've had people come up to me who've learned about it and from the YouTube, and I've taken them back. So, and these people experience their lifetimes. But what happens then, you know, if you're a white Protestant American, you could have been Japanese or German or an African or an American. You could have been politically from the north or from the south. All different skin colours, different languages, and so how can we possibly be racist when we understand that previous life we were Japanese, or if you're Japanese you were German, or whatever it happens to be. So this drifts away. You go to a spirit medium, a good one. I'm going to another one, going to Israel again next Wednesday, and I know my mother will be there. My father's often there. He was there last time. There's a big dog, Lassie. It's a big Saint Bernard, and it goes around, and I've been advised that it's like a gatekeeper. There's so many people want to come into this half hour and say chat and this and that. It's keeping these people away, and the ones that need to be there, the ones that are relevant for that particular session. The dog is making sure the dog wanders around and is there. And each spirit medium I've gone to, they say, well, there's this big dog that's wanders around, and it's Lassie, and we had it as a child. So where's the hell? Where's people in pain? Where's people? It's another dimension. It's a world of spirit. It's another state of being. So all these things start to come together, and suddenly you hear these expressions: one is all and all is one. And you know, if you're with two people, there's two people in the room, or 4 or 5 people in the room, and you're all breathing, parts of you are going to that person, and parts of them are going back into you, whether you like it or not. that's what happens to be. And if there's a Japanese there, and there's a black there, and there's a white guy there, and there's an African guy there, and there's an old person, a young person, there's a healthy person, an unhealthy person. You just be careful with COVID these days, of course. But pre-COVID, we're just all these particles, all just going from one to the other, all becoming part of each other. So suddenly, you realise, hey, it's all interconnected, it's all interrelated. And then we hear from the mystics and so forth, and there's the oneness of everything. That everything vibrates, everything is dancing, everything's different. But each thing, doesn't matter if it's a tree or a rock or a fingernail or a hair, an animal, cow, cat, everything's got its own vibrational frequency. But everything is basically light and sound. And then we have a thing like quantum physics comes along, quantum mechanics, and then, which has been around for 100 years or so now. And Niels Bohr, wasn't it? And it can't be disproved. And what we find is that the world it's all built up of light, sound, and everything has their different frequencies. But what they found out, what they discovered, is that everything is basically a wave, unless there's an observer. But not only that, how the observer feels at the time, feeling good, feeling great, this and that, it actually affects the electrons and so forth there. And also they found that the electron there, if something happens to that, it will happen to that electron over here. Which means if we give our positivity to positive thoughts to somebody, that actually affects that person. If we give our negative thoughts towards somebody, I can't handle that person there, I'll get you one day, mate. You're pouring it out. It's hurting that person, but it's lowering your vibrational frequency. So suddenly, science and mysticism, what yogis and mystics have been saying for thousands of years, that we've got this, that all this the oneness of everything. But they also discovered that the frequencies can be improved. You can have a higher vibrational frequency from positive things in life, and lower vibrational frequencies. If you have lower vibrational frequencies and they're coming on all the time, in other words, you're a person who gets upset very quickly, angry, this, and I'll get you, and I'll hurt you, and I'll control you, and all these things, that negative aspects of themselves towards somebody else, or even towards yourself. You don't love yourself or respect yourself as you should. This is lowering your vibrational frequency. It's lowering your immune system. It's lending you open to all these different types of disease. And some people live in a sea of negativity. So don't expect them to, if they do live long, they won't live well. On the other hand, if you're living in, hopefully, a sea of positivity, in other words, you only have friends. If you can pick and choose your friends who are positive, who have a loving nature. And if people give you a hard time, I mean, sometimes we're working with people and we can't do much about it. But even those people, we can send them out positive thoughts in that direction. You say, oh, I don't like you, mate, I don't like the way you treat me and so forth, but I still, I wish you everything for your family, and I hope you get on with your dog and your this and that. So you send them out these positive things. And this lifts you out of any negativity that you feel, because you can't give positive thoughts, loving thoughts to somebody else and feel negative. So it's smiling, jokes, making somebody else feel better, supporting them, listening to them. All this is positive stuff, and it's raising us up. And the highest of all these frequencies now is love. Being a loving person, doing loving, caring, kind things to people. This is the highest of the frequencies. And we can do that, so we can have ourselves in that level. Now, the first person I'm aware of that really preached love, and but love of everybody. It was Moses. He's in China, and about 400 years before Christ, and he had the school of Moses, and what he said that we have to treat everybody else just as, and love them just as we love our own family. But not only that, children should be taught that at school, to be loving people and love everybody just as much as your own family. Went for about 300 years and then it died out, and then mainly it's Confucianism, because Confucianism was no, family first, ancestors, your own ancestors, this is it. So that won the day. And then on the other side of the world you had the Essenes. The Essenes were a communal group. They were also very loving and equality, and we know Christ and Mary Magdalene, and they were part of the Essene movement of John the Beloved. He was also an Essene. The other disciples weren't, and they never really caught on about love that Christ was trying to, this undifferentiated, unconditional love that he was putting out. And so Buddhists also were another group, a Buddha, who actually taught about love of everything, and loving treatment of everything. But most of the other religions are about control and division. We're different to you, you're different to us, and so forth. So there, if you belong to them, well, good luck to you. But the Essenes, Moses, Christ, Jesus, Joshua, as he's known by at that time, his name, Joshua, and they knew the power of love. They knew if you loved and you had a loving life and you were caring and kind and respected other people, don't matter who they were, they knew it made you better, it made you feel better, they made you live longer, you live healthier. They didn't know about quantum physics and the fact about that. Well, maybe they did, but even if they did, they couldn't explain it to the people of the time. But now we do. We've got sciences and mysticism have come together. So the trick to life is to keep us, to get ourselves, one way or another, acting positively. But the other thing is, for calmness, we need stillness, to go inwards. On YouTube there's some great, if you find that you just can't handle it on your own sitting there, but there's music, there's music at different frequencies. The 600, 800 hertz, 432 hertz, I think that's more of a healing frequency, but these are frequencies that you can listen to, and it makes it easier for people to meditate. But it's going us inwards. Now, you see these people, the Cathars, I used to say, there was comments historically that they say these Cathars are sitting there and they're there for hours meditating. In India there's these sadhus, these people, and all over the world actually there's people who meditate for hours on end. Now, are they out to punish themselves? No. Because one woman said to me once, she said, John, I love ballroom dancing. She said, because I can get up and I can go on the dance floor and I can dance. She said, for a couple of hours. She said, I can't get that from sex. She said, ballroom dancing is better than sex. Because it lasts longer. The joy and the bliss and so forth is better to her, and I sex is great, but this ballroom dancing is something that you can do, and it's a form of meditation anyway, because your mind is anywhere but on problems and so forth. It's within the music and the dance and what have you. But it's the same with meditation. Those people are doing it because as they become more expert in meditation, as they open up more to meditation, they as Henri de la Bourse used to say, turn inwards to the light, or on your pineal gland, or whatever it happens to be. But there's a joy, there's pleasure. So these guys sitting there on a rock, they're actually having a good time in themselves, deep down, and they're not only enjoying it, it's good for them. Because after that, you feel better. You feel better within yourself and so forth. But what you're doing is you are raising the vibrational frequency within your body. Look, when it's all boiled down, it's all said and done, I can only speak from my own personal experience as you and everybody else. If it's your own opinion, then you know within yourself. So I see these people and they're all ill one way or the other. But this guy who's got prostate cancer treatment, but you know, when he talks, he says, oh, I hate that, and I can't stand that, and this really bugs me. You know, the very way he talks, I think, mate, you can't talk like that and be healthy and be well. You know, you're killing yourself and you don't know it. So we call it enlightenment, call it knowledge, call it what you like. But the plain fact is, we can't have that innocent happiness that we had as a child. But we can go inwards. We can act positively, think positively, and look, rubbish will pop into our head, but the trick is that the moment it pops in, you say, oh, I don't want to talk, I don't want to think like that, I want to think like this. And you consciously get rid of that and turn it to positive. This we can do. You can't stop it coming in, but you can cut it off and then organise positive things for yourself. So we all have that. You know, so there's but if we want to get it, oh, I get that car and I get this and I get that girl and I get that guy and I get that, whatever it happens to be, you know, you're just now the same person, you got a car. You're the same person, you got a wife. You're the same wife, you now got a husband. Whatever. You got 2 kids, now I've got 3, whatever. You're just the same person, but with these additions. But when you can take that and there's nothing wrong with these things, by the way, nothing wrong with having a nice car, there's nothing wrong with having a nice wife or a nice husband, and there's nothing wrong with having wonderful kids. No, they're great. But the thing is, we need to be the example through our joy, our happiness, our positive attitude to life. That's the best teacher. So I think it's an art, the art of living, if you call it the art of living, if you like. But if you walk into some place for a cup of coffee, you know, and you go there, you get to know the person. When you walk out, that person should be smiling and pleased for the fact that they came in and you had coffee or whatever you had at your premises. When you walk in, they're delighted to see you. When they walk in, you see them, their face lights up with a smile. You know, if they're not doing that, hey, they're not very impressed with you. So, and this takes knowledge. It takes gaining a bit of confidence to be able to talk to people and tell a joke or smile or smile with confidence so they'll smile back with you. So in the end, if we can get this inner bliss, this inner joy, this inner happiness, which are states of being, as just as anger and sadness and anger and jealousy and all that type of stuff is negative states of being. But if we can do that and we can go inwards, we can make our lives more positive. We've got this is the control for our health, our well-being. You know, I suggest you eat the right food and so forth and things like that. That's also knowledge. But there's no point needing being a vegan or this or that and being a miserable, nasty, vicious person. Believe me, it doesn't work. You know, it's much better to have this, live positively, learn to meditate if you can, learn to go in, Now, there's all forms of meditation. Maybe out in the garden, just gardening in your thoughts and your stillness. That's a form of meditation. So I'm not creating what type of meditation it is that you should do. But it's by going inwards, because within ourselves, certainly this is where joy and bliss, happiness comes and goes, but you can have that inner joy and inner bliss, peace of mind, tranquility of soul, and you can have it every day of your life if you choose to do so. But we have to make time and effort to do it, because no one is going to do it for us. Bye for now, stay well, and we'll talk again. Bye.